What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. I'm going to give my review of Season 1 of The Witcher, the Netflix original series, 8 episodes starring Henry Cavill. But first, before I start, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out a lot of content. Want to make sure you know what I'm up to. Alright, The Witcher. First of all, let me say that I went into The Witcher completely ignorant. I've never played any of the games. I've never read any of the books. This was a completely new experience for me, a completely new world that I was hopping into. That being said, The Witcher 3 is it's a free game on Xbox's Game Pass. I actually downloaded it today, so I'm going to try to play some of that over my Christmas vacation. So the fact that I downloaded a Witcher game, a franchise that I previously had no interest in playing, probably tells you that I liked this series, and I did. I liked it quite a bit. And initially, I had those same comparisons that I think a lot of people had. That this is Netflix trying to do their version of Game of Thrones, and I'm not a Game of Thrones fan, and I got to hand in my geek card for that because I want to be. I want to be a Game of Thrones fan so bad. But I've just tried and tried and tried and tried to get into it, and for whatever reason, it just hasn't captured me. So I had doubts going into Witcher. I was like, maybe this just isn't my cup of tea. But I gotta tell you, I really liked it a lot. So you've got three main characters in The Witcher. I'm going to keep this spoiler free, or pretty spoiler free. But you got three main characters in The Witcher. You've got Geralt, played by Henry Cavill. You've got Yennefer, played by Anya Chalotra. Anya, that's my daughter's name. But Yennefer, played by Anya Chalotra. My daughter better never act like Yennefer. I'll tell you that right now. And then you've got Princess Cirilla. And what kind of threw me off initially was the non-linear storytelling. I was sitting down expecting linear storytelling, everything happening in order, and it took me a minute to catch up to the way they were telling the story. They were kind of telling it in several different time periods, and they never really said, 20 years ago or 10 years ago or present day or anything like that. They just wanted the audience to get caught up with where they're at in the storyline. And it was easy enough. Once I realized what they were doing, it was easy enough to stay current on where they were. But it really made you kind of have to stay on your toes watching the show. Okay, what time period are they in now? What time period are they in now? What time period are they in now? Because it was a very non-linear storytelling. And initially it bothered me. It really did. Initially it bothered me. But once we got to the end and seeing how that last couple minutes of season 1 played out, I was so glad they chose non-linear. Because that end just had a great punch. It was like, when's season 2 coming out? Because it was just such a great way to end, considering the way that they chose to tell the story. So let me say that this show's called The Witcher. Henry Cavill is the title character of Geralt, of Rivia, I think it was. This could have easily been called Yennefer. I mean, this was very much her story as well. The hunchback who went on to become the sorceress, the mage who went on to fight in this great epic battle at the end of the series, and her fate being tied to the Witcher. I mean, it was her story just as much as Henry Cavill's story. And actually, Henry Cavill disappeared from this series, from season 1, for huge chunks of time while they focused on Yennefer, while they focused on her relationship with Istred, which, by the way, I really liked. While they focused on her relationship with other people in the Order, other sorceresses in the Order, and I really liked her character. Her character was my favorite. Yennefer's character was by far my favorite in this series. Henry Cavill's Witcher was a close second, but Yennefer was brilliant. Again, Anya Chalotra, she was brilliant in this role, and it was by far my favorite. Princess Cirilla, very much in a relevant story that's relevant to the big picture, very much a part of what's happening, but felt very isolated throughout the story. It had her story, her escape and her story to find Geralt and all this going on, but it all felt very isolated. And and I understood, with the law of surprise, Geralt is now tied to her, but I would have liked to. No, I wouldn't have. I was going to say I would have liked to have seen that story progress a little faster, but the way they ended it, no. No. It ended perfectly. So, yeah, I like Princess Cirella's storyline, but it felt very isolated, very separate from a lot of the other stuff happening. Let's talk about the world building a little bit. This did a great job of creating this world and establishing the rules and sticking with the rules. Geralt being a witcher, he's a mutant who's immune to magic, and he had just the whole concept of building this world with these mages and these different kingdoms and Nilfgaard and everything that's happening. It was a lot to take in, and each episode had so much to consume. It was like the first 45 minutes of Rise of Skywalker, but every single episode. This was done a little tighter, a little cleaner than Rise of Skywalker did, but it was the same kind of information overload being sent at you. And that took some getting used to as well. Henry Cavill killed this character, though. He killed it. He did such a great job. I love his deep voice. It was brilliant. He did a very good job portraying The Witcher, and can't wait to see what he brings to season 2. Let's talk about some of the violence. This was an incredibly violent show. A lot of sword play, a lot of people getting impaled in the face and the jaw up through here, a lot of people getting sliced open, a lot of bowels coming out, a lot of innards coming out, amputations, a lot of people getting limbs cut off. This was extremely violent, extremely bloody. It was gratuitous at points. I never felt uncomfortable with that, though. It was to me, it was displayed in a very realistic manner. That being said, we know LQ is a teacher. And I can't recommend this movie for anybody other than the intended viewing audience, 18 years of age or over, because of the nudity. This had a lot of nudity in it. This had Game of Thrones level nudity, if not more. Clearly, Anya Chilatra, she likes taking her top off. She has no problem with it, because it seems like every episode there were extended scenes with her showing some degree of nudity. So there was a lot of it. And I always say I've got no problem with violence. I've got no problem with adult language. I'm a big boy. I can handle all that. But I always feel uncomfortable when I feel like women are being objectified. And I feel like that was happening to some extent here. There's definitely some objectification of women. And I can't watch this with my son. I can't watch this with my son. I have watched violent stuff with my son. I have watched stuff with my son with adult language, but I cannot in good conscience watch something that objectifies women with my highly impressionable son. And I can't recommend that anybody other than the intended viewing audience watch it because of that. I'm not comfortable with it. So that being said, if you don't have a problem with this type of thing, then I don't think you're going to have many objections to this series, because it was really, really fantastic storytelling. The storytelling in the series was great, and I can't wait to see what they bring to the table in season 2. I really can't, because they ended it in such a way where both stories, the past and the present, kind of converged on each other. And it definitely set up future stories that I think are going to be really amazing. This did a great job of telling the story that it wanted to tell, but also setting up future stories and building this world so that we really want to spend more time in it. And I do. I want to spend more time in The Witcher's world. So, yeah, that's my take on this. It was a really solid first season. It's not the type of thing where I'm going to say that was fun. It was fun watching Geralt fight the monsters. It was fun watching the CGI special effects. I think there were some practical effects also. Really good stuff in the monster fighting. But given the bleak, dark tone of this show. It wasn't fun, but it was engaging. It was absolutely engaging, and it was riveting storytelling. And they really did a good job presenting the material. I don't know the material. I don't know if they stayed faithful to the video games or the books. I don't know. But I know that the story they wanted to tell was engaging, and it was very well thought out, and they did a great job at it. So that's my take on The Witcher. I thought it was very well done. I definitely think that it was intended for mature audiences, and mature audiences should be the ones viewing it. And I think that Anya Chalotra stole the show. Not with her laissez-faire attitude towards clothing, but with her acting and her character arc. So yeah, that's my take on The Witcher. I thought it was very, very good first season. Can't wait to see more. What did you think of The Witcher? Did you like it as much as I did? Let me know in the comments down below. Did it stay faithful to the source material? That's something I'm interested in. Did it stay faithful to the source material, or did it kind of veer off? Let me know. I'm getting ready to play The Witcher 3 on Xbox, and maybe I'll be a little more immersed in the Witcher world because of this movie. So I'm LQ. Thanks for being here at the LQ Review, where we talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff we love to talk about. And until next time, we'll see you later.